Hey y'all, I'm so sorry. I thought I had gotten the time changed to 6 o'clock my time. I'm so sorry. I'm just gonna give you guys some time to come in. Story, guys. So whilst I'm doing that, I want to tell you guys about my watermelon. So I was so excited to have some watermelon. I went downstairs, I caught the watermelon, and it just did not taste good at all. I had to put the whole thing in the bin. I was so upset because I've had such really good watermelon recently, like in the last couple of weeks. Every watermelon I've gotten has been really good. So I was so annoyed. You know when you bite into it and it just doesn't taste nice at all. I was so disappointed in how bad it tasted. I just couldn't believe it. Like, do you guys like watermelon? I know it's completely unrelated to the topic, but give me a second. I'm having some technical issues. Um, but yeah, like it just tasted really bad. And I was just like, that is so odd. I literally bought the watermelon, what, yesterday? And I was so disappointed. I'm just like, why would the watermelon taste like that? Anyways, yeah, it just really annoyed me. I was looking forward to snacking on the watermelon whilst I'm on live with you guys. So what I've had to rely on is basically made myself it's like an electrolytes drink. It's not too bad. It doesn't I wouldn't say it tastes like exceptional or anything, but it isn't too bad. So I've just sort of said to myself that I'm just gonna drink that in the meantime. Yeah, whilst we get through our conversation. Okay, guys, thank you so much for being so patient with me. Hit that like button. I hope you guys are doing well. I hope you guys have had a good day. So far, I think I want to start with the story about what's going on with Brit and her former stylist. So I'm going to share my screen now, if that's okay with you guys. Let's talk about it. Okay. So it looks like things are not going well between Brit and her former stylist, Paris. Now, you guys know we talked about it, I believe, was it yesterday or the day before, where we were talking about how there seems to be some beef between Kelly and Brit about their stylist. So it sounds like that's legitimately what is going on because there's some drama here with the stylist. So, just to give some context, it looks like Kelly had posted, imagine me arguing with a worker or scammer or fan. And I'm just like, okay, okay. So then I see this person here is saying obviously he had a falling out with Kelly. And then Paris says, actually, not at all. When someone calls your phone and starts screaming and talking to you crazy and using profanity, and you actually were doing them a favor, it's very easy to walk away. Kelly isn't a bad person. She just loves drama too much. Now, what are your thoughts about that? My initial reaction is this. First things first, why is he saying that he was doing her a favor? Does that mean she doesn't pay for the looks and he's just doing it out of the goodness of his heart? These are the things that came to mind because I'm just thinking, could this be genuinely like out of the goodness of your heart as opposed to you really legitimately doing this? So these are the questions that I have because it's a little bit shady to me. Because I'm just like, okay, you're doing her a favor. Isn't that your job to style her? But it does look like, okay, there's some, some expectation of like, okay, it's just a favor and she loves drama, so I'm gonna just step back. Now, interestingly enough, why would Kelly allegedly call Paris and be on the phone screaming and talking to him crazy? Very, very interesting. So if you keep scrolling, you see that Paris liked something saying Kelly because Kelly don't got the funds. And I'm like, oh, so Kelly is also one of those allegedly who don't pay their bills. Is that what this is? And this is my thing. It's like, what is up with housewives and not paying their bills? Like, if you can't afford a service, then please don't go looking for services. Don't go hiring a team if you know you cannot afford to pay them. Like, that is very, very weird to me. And so it's just very odd. So if we keep scrolling, someone said, while Kelly is fake AF, why did Brit think it would go over well to have a staff meeting with people who are not a part of your official team? All that money and you can't at least get your own makeup artist at least? Raw. Now, I completely get where this person is coming from. Yes, I do think that it's not okay to have a meeting with somebody's staff without letting them know. I think it's completely unacceptable. I don't know why anyone in their right mind will behave like that. Now, but the question is, do we know for sure if that is what happened? And whether Kelly was not invited to begin with. I say that also because Paris is out here saying, but Kelly came to the meeting in the end drunk. Brit even Ubered her there. So my thing is, when did Kelly find out? Did Kelly know before the meeting or after the meeting? And it's funny how a lot of fans are sort of like seeing it for, I guess, Kelly over Brit on this in this instance. But when Porsha had an issue with Drew having a meeting or setting up a photo shoot for Go Naked without her consent, everybody was all cool and dandy and still dragging Porsha about it. So I just think sometimes it's like people have their faves and it's all about like, rooting for their faves regardless, as opposed to like, okay, let's sort of think about it. Sorry, I can hear like the alarm going off, but I'm hoping that's not my car. Like, anyways, I hear like a car alarm going off outside. I don't know if you guys can hear it. You guys may not be able to hear it, so that's okay. But anyway, so my thing is, was Kelly invited to the meeting? Did she know about the meeting? Was she involved in the setting up of the meeting? Was it like a meeting that Brit set up to like clear the air and like make sure everybody's on the same page? Like, what is it? These are the questions that I have, and I would love to get to the bottom of, right? So, yeah, those are the questions that I have. Let me see if there are any other slides. Someone said my theory is Brit's money is funny, and Kelly probably knows she won't pay consistently and doesn't want to mess up her established relationship with her glam team. Okay. I love that Paris was like, let me clear this up. So Paris definitely likes Brit. She's like, Brit pays well and promptly on time, despite what you may have seen on one episode. She's employed some of the best in ATL and never been an issue. She actually pays right before you leave her presence. That Apple Pay goes straight through. Okay? So on the bright side, I'm glad that at least someone is sticking up and letting it be known, because the way we saw that one episode, I don't think we are out here thinking Brit got it like that. So it's good to know at least she pays the stylist. So I don't know about the other things, but apparently she be paying the stylist. And then Paris with a thought is saying not everything is tea. Some stuff is just business, and if it doesn't make sense for me or my bank account or brand, I pivot and change directions. As well as I'm big on respect. Don't talk to me crazy. I don't mind going to jail. Oh, okay. Paris is letting it be known that if you talk to me crazy, I may go to jail because you may get popped in the mouth. That is what it is given. Please hit that like button as you guys come in. That like is not matching. The likes are not matching the amount of people in here. So please hit that like button. But yeah, so it's definitely obvious that Paris is like, I am not playing with you. It sounds like there is some disagreement about money, in my opinion. This is just what I'm gathering. It sounds like Brit be paying, but Kelly may be late, may or may not be late on the funds. Whatever the case may be, Paris clearly is not interested in this. I think the only thing I don't like about things like stylists or people generally that coming professionals coming out and saying certain things, it's just like you wonder about, like, okay, where is the confidentiality? But then I guess that goes out the window if you're out here talking to me crazy. If you're out here on the phone to me calling me all types of names or insinuating certain things about me, then all bets are off. So I also completely understand that as well. So it is what it is. Now let's see if there's anything else that is interesting to talk about over here. Obviously, he had a falling out with Kelly. Um, Actually, not at all. When someone calls your phone, okay, so we've already read this. So it sounds like they didn't necessarily have a falling out as such, although there was an instance where she called allegedly Paris was not having it, or was not liking the way Brit spoke. Whatever the case may be, they've gone their separate ways now. Paris clearly styles other people, and she clearly has a new stylist. So I wish everybody well on that one. Okay, let's move on um to Porsha and Shamea and what Miss Kenya Moore had to say. So I've noticed that. Let me share this tab instead so you guys can see what I'm talking about. So first of all, shout out to the Bravo Shade Room for that first story. And now we're over here on the neighborhood talk. Shout out to them. So here's the thing that I feel. So, okay, let's start with what Kenya had to say. Kenya feels like Porsha has never really been supportive of Shamea. Kenya feels like there was a time where Shamea told her that Porsha said, do you need the money that bad? Like, why are you on this platform? This is my platform. Um, Now here's the thing that I feel and I have an issue with. Now, I know that everyone is focusing, and there are two things I will say. I will come back to even like to talking specifically about what Kenya said. about the conversation with Shamea about like, why are you here? Do you need the money that bad? This is my platform. I'll come back and we'll talk about that. Um, because I do believe that there may be some truth to that. So I will talk about that in a second. But before I do that, I do want to flag that there seems to be a pattern with Shamea, because Kenya said very clearly that the conversation happened when she was away. She when her and Porsha were not that cool, right? So imagine the conversation happened when Kenya and Porsha were not that cool. Yet Shamia felt comfortable enough to go over to somebody who is not cool with her bestie to talk about her bestie. It's like, why do we think this is okay? She has shown a pattern of doing this and constantly having this behavior, yet it feels like she is constantly being excused for that behavior, right? So it's like, oh, okay, it's okay if she goes out and she's moving about talking to whoever cares to listen about her so called bestie. That is okay. But then, you know, God forbid the person doesn't want to discuss it on the show. It's like, oh no, you don't want to discuss this on the show. Why don't you want us to address our friendship on the show? It doesn't look good. It's very, very weird to me. It very much gives like you are a hater and you're an undercover hater and you have been for a long time. Because why would you go to people that you know your friend is not fooling with? They don't fool with your friend to talk about your friend. Like that is what makes it hard for me to sort of support Shamea when it comes to Porsha and Shamea issue, or the whole Porsha and Shamea's issues. I would say that I feel like both of them have a part that they have played. They both have things that they are wrong at. Um, Neither of them is innocent, in my opinion. And I feel like everyone is very focused on, yeah, Portia is the bad friend. Da, 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 da. Okay. But Shamia is a bad friend too. Shamia is not a good friend, because a good friend will not be talking about you to somebody who you've never been cool with. This is the first time that we are seeing Kenya and Portia get into a cool space. Like, do you know how serious that is? This is the first time that we are seeing Portia and Kenya be in that space, right? So imagine that. First time we're seeing them, but you are going to go and tell her about your grievances with your best friend? That's a problem. That shows that there is a pattern there, honey. We can't even believe what you said to us, where you were trying to make it seem like you weren't talking about your bestie to Angela and Drew. Because according to Kenya is literally exposing you. I know Kenya thought like, oh, she was out here riding for Shamia or whatever and adding her 2 cents and getting her lick back on Portia. But at the same time, it's just reinforcing what some of us have been feeling about how Shamia is coming across in the season. It's like, girl, you're talking to everybody but your best friend, the one that you have an issue with. It's like you go to the people, right? You go to people. Oh no. Sorry, guys. I had to send that to voicemail because let me put my thing on DND. I'm so sorry. Normally, my phone is actually always on DND and my laptop, but occasionally, I don't know, it'd be going out DND. So let me just get that back on track. Sorry about that. Okay, we're back. So I feel like if let's say for instance, Shamia meant well. If Shamia meant well, then she would have talked to a friend, a mutual friend of theirs, right? Who has both of their best interests at heart. You will not talk to the arch nemesis of your friend, of your bestie. You will not talk to the person that does not see it for your bestie, never has for a long time, right? So you mean to tell me that that is the person that you go ahead to go and snitch on your so-called bestie too. It's suspicious. It's very, very suspicious to me. And so I feel like a lot of people are giving Shamea a pass, and I understand she's likable, all of that, and it's easy to hate Porsha because Porsha has been showing us some crazy ass behavior this season. I get it. But at the same time, let's read in between the lines and also see other things. Shamea is not innocent either. Porsha is not innocent. None of them are innocent. So if we're holding Porsha's feet to the fire, let's also hold Shamea's feet to the fire. Absolutely, we need to do that. So I'm in two minds about playing the clip because I recently got a copyright thing, and on one of my recent videos, I didn't even play the video. All I did was literally I just shared my screen and I showed something from one of these Instagram pages, and I got copyrighted by the people who actually own the content. So I'm just like, I'm staying away right now from playing that clip. I don't even want to take any risk because I don't know what Kenya may be on. I do not want anybody trying to copyright and then I'm not having to appeal stuff. I don't need all that extra drama. So what I will say is, but at least you guys know what is going on. I've given you like a quick explanation of what she is saying. Now, there is something that I do want to talk about. And I want to say about when Kenya said that according to Shamea, Porsha said something along the lines of, why are you doing this? Do you need money? What do you want? Excuse me. And I see this could be either of two things. One, this could be that, oh, she's actually jealous, right? And she doesn't want her on this platform, blah, de, blah, de, blah, de, blah, right? But I think that's very easy to say. But that's not the impression that I get. I personally think, and people might think like I'm shading Porsha, but I'm not even trying to shade her. But I think Porsha is very self-involved. Porsha is very self-absorbed. I don't think she cares to the level that people think she does about being jealous or coveting something that someone has in that way. I don't think that's what it is. I think that I don't think she's out here sitting down thinking, oh, I want what Shamea has. I don't really think that at all. So I really struggle when people say, like, oh, I think Porsha is jealous of Shamea, blah, blah, blah. I don't necessarily think that is it. I think Porsha is too self-absorbed and too self-involved to be out here sitting down jealous about Shamea, in my opinion. I may be wrong, but that's my opinion. And like I said, like I always say on this channel, you're allowed to have a completely different opinion from me. That's absolutely fine. But what I do think is interesting though, and you guys know I see and I like to focus and own in on things that other people may not necessarily focus on. I want to talk about this. Have you ever had a friend who wants to do everything that you do? Let's say you started a business selling hair care products. A week later, she starts a business selling hair care products. Let's say you decide you want to move to a particular place to start working from there. Shortly after, she decides that this is a goal that she has and wants to do. It's okay to have, like, yeah, some similarities here and there, but when it feels like every step that I take, you do the exact same thing. And so my question is, would you feel some type of way if it's like you feel like every time I try to do something for myself or I'm doing things that I'm passionate about, then all of a sudden, a day later, 3 hours later after I do mine, you want to jump in and do yours as well? It feels very much like Shamea likes to be tied to the apron strings of Porsha. And it's like, Porsha, 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 Porsha. It's the same way she revealed that, oh, she told Porsha about, like, yeah, like, let's bring our show on our friendship on the show and stuff like that. And it just seemed like Porsha was like, yeah, they don't pay me enough to discuss a friendship on the show. Porsha wasn't here for it. Porsha didn't want to do that because it almost feels like Porsha. I personally think Porsha is territorial. I think Porsha is territorial. Porsha knows how these shows get. Porsha has been on the show for a while. She knows that once something becomes a storyline, it's easy to sort of like for things to go left. She knows this. This is not, she's not new to this, right? And so I feel like, could there be an element of her wanting to be protective and territorial about what is being shown? That is one. The other thing I then also thought about is, I'm like, is Shamea that friend that is always chasing something that her friend has? It was just a question that came to me because I was like, I've been in a situation in the past where there was someone in particular where every step that I would take, they would take that same step immediately, like literally almost immediately, right? And so I started to look a little bit like, okay, what are we doing? What is going on? What is going on, right? But eventually we were able to get it together because I just felt like the person needed more of their individuality outside of me, right? As opposed to being tied necessarily to my apron strings the whole time, right? And so I feel like there's an element of that when it comes to Porsha and Shamea, where it feels a little bit like Shamea just likes to be part of the pair. It's almost like she doesn't feel like she can stand alone. It's the same way now. If you see her, it feels like she's teamed up with Kelly. Now they're wearing the same clothes together. Sorry, I just had to take a sip of my drink. So now it feels like they're wearing the same clothes together. So it's almost like, girl, do you feel like you can't stand by yourself? Like, must you be in a pair to feel like you're the it girl, to feel validated, to have what it is that you need? These are the questions that I have because I'm just like, girl, you haven't even healed from the relationship between you and Porsha, but all of a sudden now you're twinning with Kelly. Like, okay, girl, rest, heal. Okay. So yeah, I'm just like, is that what it is? Because it's easy to feel like, oh yeah, Porsha is jealous. I think that's like it's a very easy cop out, right? But if we look beyond the surface, is it more about being territorial? Is it more about being like, okay, this girl always wants everything that I have. Why can't I have one thing to myself? Must you go after everything that I have? Is that a jealousy thing? I don't think so. I think it's more of a, you want to have your own identity outside of somebody and not feel like we have to do everything in pairs. And what it sounds like when um Shamia and Porsha were talking was Shamia wanted a duo on the show. Let's tag team everybody together. Let's team up and tag team everybody together. But Porsha is like, girl, this is work for me. Like, I flow around with everybody. I'm not about to come and be tag teaming everybody. Right. And so I feel like there's an element of that where Shamia sort of has to be tied to somebody or feels like, I don't know if it's part of the people pleasing or feeling like she needs outside validation or works better in a pair. I don't know what it is, but there is a little bit of something there. And I hope that that's something that she explores and sits on and reviews. Um because yes, I agree. I feel like I'm sure Porsha is very dismissive. We see that in some of the ways she has certain conversations. It's hard to be friends with somebody who's dismissive. Completely get it. Um I would say there are certain instances where I feel like that can be very difficult to be in a relationship or be friends with somebody who can be dismissive like that, who's avoidant. Completely agree. But at the same time, I feel like there are some things where I'm like, okay, Shamia, you also are not innocent and also need to take accountability for your part to play in the chaos. I feel like they're very similar, but very different at the same time. They have similarities in the sense that like they mirror each other, and their actions are very, I don't know how to explain it. It's almost like their actions are similar but different, right? So Porsha may not talk about it. Porsha may be dismissive. And then on the other hand, you have so it's almost like opposite sides, but then the results are very similar. One person feels like you're being dismissive, I can't talk to you. The other person feels like, well, when I talk to you, you're trying to aggravate me, so I'm gonna just be dismissive, right? So it just feels like they both have personalities that are, if they don't work on conflict resolution, they are going to always have issues, in my opinion. I don't wish that upon them. You guys know I'm always very supportive of like people rekindling and friendships and stuff like that. And I hope they do get it together. I hope they had a reunion where they were able to shake hands and move on and get back on track, because when they do get along, we get some good scenes, right? So I feel like I'm gonna need them to get it together, whatever the case may be. The other impression I got with this whole Kenya situation, talking about it now, is first of all, Kenya, I feel like you are saying what people already see on the internet. I feel like you already know a lot of people are saying, oh, they feel like Porsha is jealous. So it's easy to like add that and tie that into it as well. So I think there's also an element of that. And I guess my thing with Kenya is motives, right? You knew this before, according to you, right? You said Shamia told you this a while ago. So if you knew this a while ago, yet you were trying to develop a friendship with Porsha, why? You could have left it. There was no reason for you to try to develop a friendship with someone you say is a bad friend. So, or someone you think is jealous. So what would the motive be? What would be the benefit of now trying to have a relationship now? That's very odd. Um and then finally, I thought it was quite interesting that this was coming out of the mouth of Kenya. Now, you guys know I've already addressed every single point. I've addressed all sides. But I feel like it wouldn't be nice for me not to say a little 2 cents about Miss Kenya more, honey, because if I remember correctly, Cynthia was trying to launch her wine business and you were not supportive. You were out here talking about you don't need friends like that. And like, when your friend is doing something, you're supportive. Honey, you were not supportive of her when she was launching her business, even when she was getting engaged. You kept doing shady things, in my opinion. So who's a good friend? Clearly not you. So I hope like everybody also adds that into perspective. Like, okay, this is definitely a case of the pot calling the kettle black, in my opinion. Okay, let me have a look and see. Oh, yes, I wanted to talk about Simon and Ice. Okay, so let's see. Let me see. All right, let's see. How do I go back? Girl, why are you acting like you're in the Stone Ages? Let me just click on this. Okay, so let's scroll, 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 scroll. Um, where is it? I swear I saw it and like saved it some. Oh yeah, found it. Okay. All right, let's get into it. So this old Simon Porsha is the gift that keeps on giving, if you ask me. I bet that Porsha is just like regretting the day she ever decided to marry this man. And I will not blame her because, yeah, it's definitely given. Yeah, he's your nemesis, honey. He is not going to remove his foot off your neck. And I feel like once he rests after being, rest a little bit, probably ends up in Dubai for a couple of weeks, he'll probably be back on social media trolling you. I hope not, but I will not be surprised if that is what it is. I will say that. So it's definitely, that's just one thing I would say. But yeah, so it says Simon is fresh out of ICE prison. Uh, prison, oh my god. I'm so sorry, guys. Slip of tongue. Fresh out of ICE custody. I wasn't even trying to be funny. My just slip of tongue, honey. I am tired. Um, I don't know when it's hot, my brain just be like, girl, please. I just need an ice lolly and rest. So yeah, sorry, it is a bit hot for me. Um, Simon is fresh out of ICE custody and already spilling tea. After spending 4 months detained and getting deported to Nigeria, he's now suggesting Porsha Williams or the folks backing her might have had something to do with it. Now, I will say that this isn't surprising because please hit that like button, guys. Don't be stingy with the likes. Hit that like button. Okay, it's not really surprising that people feel like Porsha may be behind it because I know that we've had the conversation before where people felt like, oh, Porsha was behind calling ice on Simon. I don't think she would be silly enough to do that, in my opinion. Knowing fully well that everyone is going to point at her anyway. It's like, think about it. Just because someone is the obvious choice does not mean that they are the person that did it, right? Because think about it. It's very easy to be like, okay, Porsha, don't make me call Porsha, like, because of how Simon has been trolling her. But it could literally be anyone who saw those things that came out about Simon and who was annoyed that this man has been able to stay in the country for as long as he did, despite the history. It could have been one of y'all right now who are on live with me. It could have been one of y'all, who knows, right? But I do also understand people feeling like, oh, maybe it's Porsha or at least somebody that has something to do with it. Let's be honest, right? Porsha has fans. So it could literally be even a fan could have done it. Anybody could have done it. Family member who was tired of the man trolling her. Sure. Would it be something that I may do for a family member? Who knows? Maybe. So I'm just saying it really could have been anybody. So unless there is proof, I'm going to say that I don't think everybody is innocent until proven guilty. But let's see what Simon had to say. Simon says he was flying back to the US for a divorce hearing. Now, this is the thing. ICE are also not stupid. They have been trying to, in my opinion, allegedly deport you for a while, right? They've basically told you about the fact that there are issues. It is not surprising that they know that you have a divorce hearing coming up. It is basically public record that you have a divorce hearing coming up. You mean to tell me that they couldn't have easily organized themselves to make sure they are available and pull up on you? Let's be clear. You are one of those people who post a lot on social media. I'm sure it wasn't hard enough to figure out where you would be, in my opinion. So it may not have even been anybody. It could have just been like ICE are just doing what ICE do, you know? So there is that as well. Um, if he wasn't on the internet like that and always doing the most, in my opinion, I don't think that, maybe if he had then gotten called or ICE called on him, then maybe we would be like, okay, there's something a little suspicious. But in this case, where this man is always on social media, practically trolling every opportunity he gets, it's very, very easy. When I say very easy, it is very easy to be like, yeah. So I would take it with a grain of salt. But anyways, he says they took his phones. Okay, so they pulled up on him at the gate. Okay. They took his phones, laptop. Exactly. You were coming into the US. That this is the thing. So you were so lackadaisical about the whole thing that you were just going in and out of the country, knowing fully well that you have this going on when you should have been sitting your A somewhere, because as soon as you're getting in, you have a flight booked, all these kind of things. You mean to tell me that there isn't any way they can easily find that out? Like, okay, Simon. They took his phones, laptops, and walked him off the plane in cars. Okay. He says his devices held all his business info from both Dubai and the US, and he had to hand over his passcode. Okay. He claims it was strange timing. My goodness. Since he had travel issues before but never been detained. And it just so happened to go down a day or two before the Real Housewives of Atlanta premiered. Coincidence? He's not so sure. Okay, now this is a coincidence. Mm-mm. I will say this is very interesting timing. I will very much say that. I'd never thought about the timings before, but it was a day or two before Real Housewives of Atlanta premiered. Mm-mm-mm. Okay, yeah, for the first time, I'm like, okay, it may not have been Porsha, but was it somebody else that knows her or that is tired of him on the gram? Probably. Simon says it felt personal. He didn't say Porsha's name directly, but made it clear he believes people behind her might have had something to gain from him being out of the picture. When asked if Porsha tipped off ice, he said, "It's possible, I just don't know." Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. Because, like, yeah, I appreciate him saying it's possible. I just don't know. Because there's no way of you knowing for certain. And at the end of the day, this is someone that you were married to. Sometimes you think like someone you're married to is not capable of something, and sometimes they are. Sometimes they really are capable of things. I'm sure Portia did not know, Simon, you're capable of all the way you have been trying to drag this whole prenup and not allow the prenup to be enforced. I'm sure she never thought in a million years that it would ever get to that point ever. But look where you guys are at. So anything is possible, Simon. So you're right. I will agree with Simon on that one. Sources close to Portia say that's a flat out lie. Simon says he was locked up with no bond, had no phone call for days, and ended up in protective custody because people recognized him. Okay, so which is it? Oh, so they put him in protective custody within I because of that? Is that what he means? Now that he's back in Nigeria, he says he's still shaking up and trying to piece everything together. Okay. Mm, we don't know what that means, but bravo to Simon for sharing his story. Not bravo to Simon. Ooh, is the neighborhood talk trying to insinuate that Bravo, allegedly, you know, did what they had to do? I do not know, but it's very, very suspicious that they say, but bravo to Simon for sharing his story. Okay. Now, in terms of, let me just read this one comment right here because I feel like this encapsulates what I've been saying for a long time about Simon. He refuses to accept that he put himself out there. He wanted to be in the spotlight knowing he was leaving fraudulently. Okay? Someone said it is true. Oh, someone said, Simon, the internet tipped off ice. You should have shut up. This is the thing. This is what I'm saying because it feels like for a long time he was constantly trolling her. And for a while, she didn't even respond to some of the things before she then decided, let's get in there and let's start going at it. So anybody really could have tipped them off. Someone said, but he was outside like he was legally here. Yep, this is the thing. And this is the thing that like concerns me about people that are scammers or people that are doing things illegally. It's like, guys, if that is what you're on, then live a very mellow, relaxed life. Don't be out here where people are looking to investigate you. If you're out here looking and living large, people are likely to research you, people will Google you, people will try to find out what is going on. People are curious. I'm a curious person myself. So maybe I wouldn't go to the lens that people go to, but at least sometimes I may do a quick Google search, see what you own here and there, and be like, okay, is this person really a business person? What do they really do? Okay. Okay, billionaire. Okay, cool, cool, cool. But some people will dig down deep to find the tea and do what they need to do. So I'm just like, if you're out here knowing fully well you're out here illegally, but you are so vocal, it was only a matter of time. I don't even think Porsha or her people had to call nobody on you. I think your actions got somebody called on you, got eyes called on you, in my opinion. It could have been somebody from the neighborhood talk. It could have been someone from my YouTube channel that called eyes on him. Who knows? You know? Someone said I thought he went in for a normal appointment and they detained him. Like ICE literally knew you were here, sir. Yes, ma'am. Whoever this person is. Um Nah, so this is the thing. And this is another thing I've noticed about people. When people sometimes when they don't like somebody, they know how to try to twist the narrative to reinforce whatever it is they don't like. So for instance, here somebody is saying in response to what this person said, I thought he was in a normal appointment, like they detained him, blah blah blah. Someone responds saying that's the lie she told you. She didn't warn him. She requested the court appointment in person, and he always sorry, in person, and her lawyers advised her to call ICE on him. In that way she could gain custody of his assets since the marriage isn't legally divorced yet at the time. And here's the thing, and I'm glad someone else responded, because it's like, stop putting out alternative facts because you want to support your fave. Then someone says, no, there are court documents showing where he fought to have it in person. She requested a Zoom hearing. Ta da! And that's my thing. It's like, okay, you don't have to like Porsha or anything, but it's like, seriously, there's no reason for you to start giving us alternative facts as if it was the truth. Someone said you can't blame her for this. She literally had the immigrant stuff going on in the 80s and 90s. LOL. Fair enough. Someone said it was probably that little Fallon back to get the last laugh. Oh my goodness. Imagine it was Fallon that called. Oh my god. The plot thickens. That would be hilarious. The way he was carrying on IG, he tipped himself off, should have stopped being so loud. Completely agree. And I love the fact that there's like men and women in the comments actually flagging that, because it's like, guys, why are you blaming people or her powerful friends or whatever when it's like your actions got you where you are at, sir? Let's see what Kempire is saying. I'm sure it couldn't be that he kept applying to. Kempire is cracking me up with this. I'm sure it couldn't be that he kept applying to become a citizen despite entering the country under an undisclosed identity and being deported back in the 90s, allegedly. Here's the thing. Agreed, because it's just like, okay, so you've applied so many times. They've told you that they're not going to give you. How many times do you want to keep applying? You've of course put yourself on their radar. Someone said, boy, ICE don't need a tip. They're picking people up who have been here for 10, 15 years. You definitely wasn't exempt because you were on TV as a guest. Ooh, okay. I can't lie, the comment section is cracking me up. Someone said, AM been out of ICE 24 hours and he is back on the keyboard. We don't care. Porsche, our home girl. Oh, cute, cute. But anyways, I definitely feel like whatever the case may be, Simon, you brought this upon yourself. You could have removed yourself from this by not being so public, but you were so public. And so you can't blame the world for or anybody for what has now finally happened to you, in my opinion. Now, you guys know he doesn't give up. So, according to, I think something that I saw was it yesterday. Let me scroll and see if I can find it. Mandem is trying to see if he can get back here. And he's trying to go through the president. So, yeah, apparently he's trying to set up a meet with the president. He was even referring to the president as Donnie. So I'm like, okay. Are you trying to act like you guys are coolly cool or what? I can't seem to find it, but you guys are gonna have to take my word for it at this point. But I think I know I saw something about the man trying to, refer to sort of trying to get back on track with Donnie and stuff. So yeah, I think there's probably an element of that. Anyways, let's move on to talking about this situation over here. Now, for those of you who watch Basketball Wives, and for those who don't, if you watch Basketball Wives, this is your recap about to come up, okay? Now, first of all, I think Brandy should have apologized to Chantel. I feel like it didn't need to get as far as it did. She could have just apologized. It could have been dead, buried, done. Absolutely done. Now, when it comes to Chantel and Jackie, I feel like they have a tumultuous relationship. They have a tumultuous relationship. It is crazy. I feel like there is a lot going on, and I feel like they definitely should have never, when I say never, never been on the same show together. I don't know whose idea it was. Terrible idea. Terrible idea. Please hit that like button, guys. We're talking about Basketball Wives and specifically the scene between Jackie and her daughter, Chantel. So when I say I don't know whose idea it was to bring her on the show, absolutely is entirely too much. It should not have happened. And especially when you know your relationship is rocky, why would would it even occur to you guys that, oh, let's both be on the show? Who decided that stupid? Who made that stupid decision? And I do think being in that group dynamic also amplifies everything because now people are relaying what you've said personally, what you've said privately to your mom. And then now it's like literally they're doing what the producers, this is my opinion. I feel like the producers basically said to them, I see there's probably allegedly. This is just follow me here. This is me imagining. The producers probably said, if I were the producer, let's do a hypothetical. Let's say I was the producer, I'll say to them, okay, I do notice there is some friction between Jackie and Chantel. None of them seem to want to talk about it. Can you maybe bring it up? Right? And I feel like that is probably what happened. So Ty brings it up, and then someone else brings it up. I think Brittany, right now. And then it then becomes World War. It becomes a war zone, literally. And so then Brittany and Jackie are going back and forth at each other. And I'm just like, Jackie jumps over the couch. That was very entertaining to me. I'm like, Jackie is fit. Because I'm fit. I'm fit. And I be at the gym 4 to 5 days a week. Right. And I still do some exercise outside of the gym. You will not find me jumping over the couch like that. Not that quickly. Jeez. So when I say that, Jackie, girl, you are fit? Because how the heck are you jumping over the couch trying to pop Brittany in the mouth? Absolutely, absolutely crazy to me. Now, when it comes to Jackie and Chantel, I feel like so much has happened between them. I do feel like they both could have handled things differently. I know it's very easy for people to come specifically after one party over the other. But remember, we do not have the context they both have. We do not know, we weren't there when things were happening in their private life. We weren't there when, Jackie was raising Chantel. We don't know the ins and outs. We do not know what has transpired. But what we see is that there are deep rooted issues that have never been addressed. Never been addressed. Because you see, sometimes Chantel says things that it's clear she doesn't really see it for her mama. And that usually happens when, you've had a lifetime of being disappointed by a certain parent, right? So I just feel like there is a lot. And I also think, right? So I want to point out some of the things I think they could have each done differently, right? I like to have like a bit of a constructive conversation because, yeah, we've seen it. It's never okay. A parent and a child fighting on national television, especially when we know it's only going to escalate even further. It's not nice to see. I do not want to see it. Imagine telling your mom, um, she's effing high. Da, 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 da. That is so out of order. That is so out of line. That is so disrespectful. Absolutely appalling. Absolutely hated that. However, I want us to think about what each party could have done better in that scene. First of all, I think the group really eggs them on to have the conversation. They both were heated. The conversation did not need to be had on that same day in that same moment. You could tell Jackie was heated when Jennifer was trying to calm her down and basically just say, like, yeah, the mom, you're da da da, and talk about her mom and stuff. And she did not want to hear it. She did not want Jennifer touching her. And her and Jennifer are cool, right? That tells you things have escalated to the point where she is not even comfortable having that conversation. She ain't even comfortable having that conversation at all, right? Let me just pause it because I do not want no issues, right? Even though it's not saying anything, right? I believe. Yeah. So it's just like, it is obvious that I feel that Jackie was out here not really, how can I explain it? It's clear Jackie did not expect things to go that left. And I felt like genuinely Jackie thought she was respecting her daughter's boundaries. When Chantel was saying one thing and expecting another. Chantel, if you ever listen to this, I need you to say what you mean and mean what you say. You set your mom up. And I said you set her up because you literally said out of your own mouth, oh, I don't need da da da. You can go, go back in there, blah, blah, blah. When your mom was trying to leave with you, you could have said, Mom, I feel like in the future, da 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 da, speak up for me. Don't let nobody be out here talking about me. You could have said that, but you didn't. That could have been a teachable moment for you to say to your mom, okay, Mom, I understand. Why didn't you feel like it was okay for you to step in? Why would you accept the apology and not say, oh, she should be apologizing to my daughter, not me? Right? So I just feel like that is something that could have been discussed like an adult. You could have had the conversation with her. You could have been honest about how you felt instead of being resentful, not having the conversation, then going around to talk about it to other people. Chantel, that is what you could have done differently, in my opinion. Jackie, here's where I think you could have addressed the situation differently. I feel like your approach towards having the conversation should have been different. The way you came to start the conversation off was already from a very defensive place. And I know, da da da, but you're the parent, right? No matter how old your daughter is, that's your child. You're the parent, right? So it's just like you could have at least opened up the conversation in a way that was more constructive to begin with, right? And so I feel like that's where she could have done better as well. So that's why I say, like, I feel like everyone has their part to play in this relationship and in the way the relationship has played out. Um, but I feel like Chantal was definitely out of order because it's like you're talking about like you're gonna get your daddy on the phone, it's gonna go left, da, da, da. Is Jackie supposed to be scared of her husband? Although it did look like she did not like the fact that you're gonna call daddy or your dad and all of that, because I think that also triggered her, which then also makes me feel that is the dynamic such that when there's any beef between Jackie and Chantel, they're the father, Jackie's husband, picks Chantel's side. Like it was just something that like occurred to me because I was just like, the way Jackie seemed really hung on that particular point almost gives the impression that that is what that is. So I was just like, oh, okay, maybe that's what the whole thing is about, and maybe that's really what is happening here. So I would say like, yeah, I don't know whose idea it was, but they really should have never ever been on the same TV show. Like there was a lot of manipulation of the TV, storylines, all that kind of stuff. Why would you think it would be okay and you and your daughter would be exempt? Of course not. You and your daughter would never be exempt from it. And if you see the way the whole group had been building up to it, if you remember, I think in the previous episode there was a bit of a sit down where they were talking about it and talking about like, yeah, their relationship, and it's like you could tell they were building it up. This is something the producers knew from day one was going to be a storyline. They wanted that storyline, in my opinion, and they built everything up towards that happening. And it's such a shame that I feel like Chantel fell into it. Um, in particular, I feel like Chantel fell into it because I don't necessarily think that Jackie was falling for it. I think Chantel fell for it. And Chantel piped up when she didn't need to pipe up. You could have directed your energy at Brandy. You could have directed your energy at Brandy, you know? Um, and so I just feel like production knew what they were doing. The cast members were given assignments, in my opinion, and they came out there and they delivered. It's so sad it's at the expense of a family. I really hope Chantel and Jackie are in a better place. But I do think they definitely need some family counseling because there are some very deep rooted issues there, um, in my opinion, because it's so obvious that she doesn't see it for her mother. She's always constantly criticizing her mother in some way, shape, or form. Um, it's like you say one thing, but you want another, and which comes across very childish and immature. So it's like it's funny. Brandy called her a child, staying in a child's place, and it's like she was so offended by that, but then her actions sort of reflect childish behavior, which is so funny to me. It's like not Brandy eventually being right, because it's like, honey, you really are moving a bit childish because it's like, are you upset at your mommy for not defending you? But you're a grown person. You should be able to defend yourself. You don't need mommy to defend you. So like, what's the problem now? So these are the things that like I'm just like, girl, choose what you want, honey. It's a bit confusing. It is confusing. What do you want? So yeah, I would say that that's one thing that I picked up. Now guys, what's up with the likes not matching the people in the chat? Please hit that like button, guys. Hit that like button. So yeah, it's just too much. Let's see some comments over here. I honestly don't care what my mom is on. I'm never going against her on TV. Never. Never. Well, to be honest, I love my mom too much to even ever, ever, ever consider doing that. No matter what, if I have to walk off and be like, yeah, mom, I'm not doing this with you. Bye, mom. And walk off, sure. But never, ever, ever being part of that nonsense. Sorry, not sorry. Another person said, imagine your favorite daughter becoming an adult and becomes resentful to you. This is why you treat all children equally. Oh, this is something I agree with. I always feel like I know parents say like no, they always have their favorites. I'm just like, even if you have your favorites deep down, never let it be known. Try as much as possible to treat all your children equally. If you give one person something, give the other the same thing. Because what happens is you build up resentments, you sow seed of discord, even your children don't even get along because they've always felt that one person was more important to you than them, right? So that fractures relationships. And then it's like the one that you were holding as the golden child then really doesn't even care for you. Like, yeah, that is like you've lost everything on all sides. So it says mother and daughter shouldn't be in the same group. This is too much. I agree. I agree. And this is where I feel like, okay, they're doing too much for TV. There was no reason. You're mean to tell me you cannot even do a franchise of like basketball wives, younger edition. I don't know, call it something else. Future basketball wise, new, I don't know, something, or call it something completely different. And you couldn't do like a spin-off or something, like you had to bring her on the show. Like, did you guys really need the money? Like, what was it? And who thought this was a bright idea? Whoever thought this was a bright idea, you need to never take ideas from that person. You need to never listen. If they tell you do this, do the opposite, because they don't have good advice for you guys, in my opinion. Chantel been playing with Jackie since the season started. She been on everybody's side but her own mom. But Jackie's supposed to come to her rescue when she started with Brandy Bye. I agree with that. Now, the only thing I will caveat is with this is the thing about producers and editing is I feel that when they already have something that they want to convey, they then edit it a certain way. So sometimes they may take out the context of how you said something. Let's say, you see how sometimes I give like balanced perspective. So I'm like, oh, Porsha was wrong by doing this. Imagine someone then clips the bit where it says Porsha did this, but then doesn't clip the bit when I talk about Shamea. Then it looks like I'm on Porsha's A, but I'm not having a balanced conversation where I'm talking about how each person could have done something different. Sometimes that's what editors do for these type of shows. They can cut out the bits where you could even say great things and be like, oh, she's such an amazing friend, da. But I think in this one, they can cut that out and just say, I think she is horrible at this, and then just have that in there. So I think that we also have to bear in mind that what we are seeing is an edited show, and they can edit things a certain way for things to look a certain way if that is a narrative that they have now created. So just FYI on that. Chantel needs to find a therapist and heal. I agree, but I also think Jackie needs a therapist as well. I think they both need family counseling, and I think they also need to include some of the other children in the counseling. Everybody needs to be in counseling. Let's talk about it. So I get that. I get Jackie's POV, that may be your dad, but threatening to call my husband is like going to discipline me is like he's going to discipline me is a no. I agree. I completely agree. I feel like the fact that she was even threatening that gives me the impression that Doug be putting Jackie in her place and be on Chantel's side a little bit, because it actually came across as she was also pissed that even that was even being brought up in the slightest. So, yeah, I do think that. Let me see if anyone says that. No, but I guess I give you things that people don't really talk about. Let's see. Let me read a few more before I call it today. Honestly, Jackie is the real problem. Chantel knows her mom be on some nonsense. It's tough to keep your cool when your parent is always doing the most. She loves her mom, but her mom just be doing too much sometimes. I get it, but I do think in this particular episode, unless I need to hear from the people that were present, because we don't know if they've edited it so much in one way over another that that's what it comes across as. I feel like we need to hear from the people who were there in that room. What was said? How was it said? Those are the things I want to know. Those are the things that I want to know personally. So I'm going to read one last one and then let's call it a day. Maybe I need to watch the entire episode because I don't genuinely don't see anything wrong with what Jackie said and how she handled it from this clip. She didn't raise her voice. She basically told her regardless to stay in her place, whether she's an adult or not. What's wrong with that? I still see the little girl being triggered in Chantel, though. I agree. I'm all for them getting it back together, but Chantel isn't mature enough. She's not seasoned enough in reality TV to understand the game and to separate being mommy's princess from being an adult that handles her own and respects her mom. Say it louder. Please say it louder. I definitely think there is an element of it's like, girl, you want to form your own connections, you want to be standalone, you want to be an adult. Mommy let you be an adult and now you're upset. It's like, what? Which is it? Do you want mommy to fight your battles or do you want mommy to, like, what do you want mommy to do? And so I think that's the big issue here is like, she's not consistent about what it is that she wants. And then you can't blame Jackie for not knowing what you want if you're not being consistent about what it is that you want. So that's what I think. Anyways, my lovelies, I am tired. I need to go find me some watermelon. I don't know. I feel very obsessed with watermelon lately. I think it's because it's really hot now. Like the weather has changed. And so I feel like 9 out of 10 every hot day I'm thinking about how I could have my watermelon in the freezer and like have it almost like an ice lolly, or how I can have my watermelon in the fridge and it's just ice frozen and so nice. So now I need to go order some watermelon because I cannot be bothered to get into the car to drive up to go pick up some watermelon. I know, so silly. But anyways, ooh, yeah, the weather is looking hot all week, guys. Pray for me because I do not do too well with the heat. There's literally had to be like a health alert posted because of how hot it is. So yeah, it is very, very hot. Like if I didn't have to work, honey, this is why I need to marry a billionaire. If I did not have to work and do nothing, I would be on the beach somewhere right now, like relaxing. And then I would be recording this from a beach, but not yet. We're still not there yet. um, but hopefully very soon by God's grace. Anyways, thank you so much for hanging with me. Please hit that like button if you haven't already. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Tap that bell button so you get notifications every single time that I post. Let me just have a quick look just to see if there is anything else that I had on my list that I have not talked about. No, all good. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day. Enjoy this hot, hot day if it's hot wherever you are at. If it's not hot, I'm a little jealous, to be honest. But anyway, guys.